What comes to your mind when I mention the meta in the context of an MMO? I'm willing to bet it's allocation of skill points, ability rotations, gear set bonus loadouts, and other similar concepts. And while yes, that is very typical MMO meta conversation, actually, in fact, those are exactly the things that I covered in the previous videos in this series, and I'll put the links in the description below. Some of my earlier work, so don't judge too harshly, please. But there are actually other versions of the meta in MMOs, a bunch of them in fact. But this video is going to be all about leveling from 1 to max, because that has been metafied. Yeah, I just made that word up, so write that down. It's been metafied to the extreme. Leveling in World of Warcraft, if you follow meta guides, will have you going from specific quest giver to specific quest giver, doing only the most efficient quests that generate the straightest possible line from level 1 to max. They cut out quests that take too long, they cut out quests that take you too far off the beaten path, and they cut out quests that have too low of a reward. It's so efficient. It's been metafied to the point that they can tell you within just a few minutes how long it should take you to reach the next level, or even how long it should take you to go all the way from level 1 to max if all you do is follow the guide. The adventure, the fun, the experience of it all has been taken completely out of the game. Yeah, you can get to max level fast and then jump on the hamster wheel of getting gear that will be nullified by the next expansion and repeat ad infinitum, but you've lost the sense of adventure that is likely the reason you even came to this game in the first place. Another example of metafying the level process comes from my days in Dark Age of Camelot. In that game, there were very few quests, but those quest givers didn't have exclamation points over their heads, and those quests didn't give experience, and they usually gave you an item, and usually that item sucked. You got levels by killing things. That's it. It was as simple as that. Killing things that are higher level than you gave you more experience, and killing things while in a group gave even more experience. If you killed something that was roughly your level all by yourself, you'd have to sit down in game and wait for like 30 seconds at least for your health, stamina, and or mana to refill before you could go kill another one. It was extremely inefficient. But you could get into a full group of 8 people and hang out at different camps or spots in the game where multiple enemies spawned in clumps, and pull groups of 3 to 5 of those at one time, and use all of your collective abilities to kill that group. And because there was usually 1 or 2 classes in the group that had chants or spells or buffs that made your resource pools regenerate quickly, there was very little sitting around waiting on those pools to fill up, and it was non-stop chain pulling of multiple mobs that are higher level than you. It was highly efficient. But that wasn't efficient enough for the players. Everyone knew that if you played on Albion, which is basically the Artherion faction of the game, you could hang around Camelot for the first 6 or 7 levels killing things, then you moved to Pridwen and killed stuff around that area to, 10 or 11, which is the point where killing even level mobs became very inefficient. So then you just go right past Pridwen Bridge into the Salisbury Plains, and there was a giant hill on the left, and on that hill were rock golems. And there were always 3 or 4 groups in the area pulling them off the mountain and killing them. You'd join one of those groups, and then when you got to level 12 or 13, you moved to this specific grove of trees that had pixies, and then again, always had 2 or 3 groups pulling from them all day, every day. And then from 14 to 16 or 17, you went to the Broken Bridge where there were these skeleton legionnaires, and so on and so on. What they effectively did was take a massive game world with all kinds of secrets, cool encampments, and awesome places to explore, and reduce it into the fewest possible camp spots, creating as straight of a line as possible through each zone to once again get you to max level as fast as possible with no adventure in sight. Ashes of Creation will be blending these 2 types of leveling, the theme park style and the sandbox style, into what they are calling Sand Park. Steven has said that he wants roughly 60 to 70% of each of your levels to come from questing, and then 30 to 40% from other things, like grinding kills. So I can imagine what you're thinking right now. Yes, Zillan, and they're going to metafy this too. I'm going to know which 12 quests I need to do in order to get my 60 to 70% of a level, and then exactly which mob encampment to go to get the rest. And You'd be right if Ashes of Creation didn't have nodes. Now, there are a few other games out there that have a feature called nodes, or a feature that has something in it called nodes, but nothing in any of those games comes close to replicating what Ashes nodes will entail. It's a completely revolutionary system that will impact players in ways that we can't even imagine yet. But what we do know is that the availability and level of quests in your area, as well as the location, type, and level of mob encampments in the world, will depend directly on the level of the node that you're in, as well as the level of the surrounding nodes. On my server, there is an orc camp at this spot. But on your server, in the exact same spot, it's a field with a few wolves in it. And on his server, it's an empty field. And on her server, there is an elite minotaur protecting the entrance to a dungeon. On my server, I have access to a full line of quests fleshing out the story of a girl gone missing from a nearby node. But on your server, that node hasn't been developed, so instead, you have a short quest to scout the area and make sure it's safe to start building a city in that area. It changes from server to server to server. No one will be able to tell you exactly what you need to do, right down to the letter, in order to get your next level. Will all of this destroy any idea of meta in Ashes of Creation? Absolutely not. There will always be a meta. But I believe this will shift those metas to be hyper-regional. You're going to know in your area of the game world, around your home node, which quest lines give the most bang for your buck, or which mob camps have the best respawn rate to keep the pulls constant. But you won't be able to watch a video to learn all that. That info will be so regionalized and then so server-based, it will have almost no appeal and therefore it won't be made. There will always be meta, and people are going to figure out ways to metafy anything. But it's going to be harder in Ashes of Creation than any MMO that has ever come before it. And that is just one of the many ways Ashes of Creation is bringing adventure back to the genre. Guys, I just want to let you guys know that I have decided I'm going to start streaming again. It's been a while, but people are starting to get interested in the game again, so I'm going to be starting to stream. Vladis does a stream every Friday night, and I think I'm just going to go live right after he gets done. I don't want to step on his toes at all. And also, once Alpha 2 gets here, I will be streaming a lot. So I'm going to put the link to my Twitch channel in the description below, and you guys can come hang out and watch. That's really all I have for this one, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.